Welcome to part 3 of the 2018 non-traditional Christmas movie marathon. I am so excited to be talking about this week's review. It is the 2015 film Krampus. This was directed by Michael Dougherty. He is most famous for writing and directing the film Trick or Treat, and this is his follow-up film, and he's got a very well-rounded cast to work with this time around. Some of them include Adam Scott, Toni Collette, David Koechner, Allison Tolman, and Kachanta Farrell.
So where's the nog? I need to get married.
And all of the cast in this film does an outstanding job. They really help take the film up a notch. Now, the plot of Krampus deals with two dysfunctional families. The first, the mother and father, really aren't what they used to be. They've been having some issues, and the brother and sister, they're not as close as they once were. And they also have another family coming in from out of town to stay with them during the holiday season. They are completely polar opposites as far as their way of life and their political views. So you have these two families who aren't really tight to begin with, really clashing around the holiday season, which brings young Max to go from being an absolute hardcore fan of Christmas to just not caring anymore, ripping up his letter he wrote to Santa Claus and tossing it out the window. And with all of that enters an ancient demonic spirit known as Krampus. And Krampus is there to punish the anti-Christmas people and the non-believers. Now, my personal experience with Krampus, I didn't know who the hell this guy was. I'd never heard of him until the movie came out. And it really intrigued me, so I thought, all right, I'm going to research this guy. And his origin story isn't 100% clear, but most people seem to believe he comes from Norse mythology. He is the son of Hel. Now, Krampus is a demonic spirit, and he's usually portrayed as very, very tall, with chains on him, horns, looks very similar to a goat and Satan, and he's got hooves. So it's like this half demon, devil, half goat, basically. And this legend, this tradition, it's very prevalent in Austria, Germany, the Alps, all of that Germanic region. And, a little funny story, when I started learning about Krampus and that, okay, he comes from this Germanic background, I started asking all of these Germans about him. And one lady, I'll never forget it, one day, she's an older lady from Germany, and I asked her, this is during Christmas time, when I asked her about Krampus, and she goes, "I have never heard of this word. That is not even German word. I never hear of this." And I said, "Ma'am, honestly, it's a real thing." She goes, "I want you to write this down for me. Will you get pen and paper? You write this down. I go home and I am going to Google this. And then tomorrow I am having German tea with German friends, old ladies, German old ladies. We're going to talk about this. I will ask them if they know anything about this Krampus." And so I said, okay. And she wasn't mean. That's just how the German culture comes across, and I'm not bad-mouthing them. A big chunk of my DNA is of that Prussian Germanic heritage. So I understand, how they work. As far as this movie, I think it's good for what it is. Each time I see this film, I like it more and more. It's not a masterpiece by any means, but if you can go into this film knowing, okay, this is going to be cheesy, it's silly, it's also got, the horror aspect. I could see little kids getting freaked out with this. I don't think adults are going to really be scared, but it's just a really entertaining film. And if you can go in with that mindset, I think you can enjoy this film. And one of the things I really enjoy about this film is it does such a great job of capturing the holiday spirit, why we should celebrate the feel-good moments and all of that. It does a great job of bringing that Christmas spirit alive, and then it also shows just how ridiculous the holiday has gotten, is what people do, and the tension and the stress. Even the opening shot of the movie has these crazy shoppers just being unleashed in this store, and you can see the madness as to how obsessed they are with getting their gifts. It's just like you see on Black Friday and Christmas shopping nowadays. It does a great job, probably slightly exaggerated, but you get the point of how absurd this holiday has gotten. And I think back years ago, I went in to see the family doctor around this time, and he was telling me just how this holiday has changed things. And he was like, you just really just stresses all these people out, and it's getting on my nerves. Because, we see all these people during this time of the year, they're coming in here stressed out, and you got the higher suicide rates. People are killing themselves more and more. It's just not what this holiday is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be having a good time, relax, feeling good, and everybody's just freaking out, trying to do too much, and you just got stress levels through the roof, And just keep in mind, that man can prescribe drugs. Right. Oh, yeah. Okay, thanks, Doc. Another thing I like about this film is that it really has very little CGI. There's a few things that go on throughout the film, but for the most part, they use real effects in this movie, and I applaud them for that. It's nice to see real creatures and real costumes and props and so forth. So they do a great job with a lot of these creatures.
Oh, shit.
And you get a whole variety of movie categories. You got the horror aspect, you got some good action, you've got the family feel-good part, and folks, I'm gonna be honest, there is some really good comedy throughout this film.
Looks like Martha Stewart threw up in here.
This is delicious, honey.
A little dry.
Well, mine's delicious.
Mine's dry.
Do you want to trade?
How we were going to survive Christmas with 12 people stuck in a house with no heat and no electricity.
Or food.
There's plenty of leftovers, Howard.
Beer it is.
I think it's easy for people to identify with all of these different actors and actresses in the film because they bring so many different aspects from, families and personalities and that sort. And I gotta say, I love the character of Omi, the grandmother from Germany. She really does a great job of reminding us why it's so important to celebrate Christmas and to keep that spirit and the message and the intent alive, because if you don't, Krampus is coming to get your ass. So I would rate Krampus 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, for what it is, it does a great job. If you can go into this movie not expecting a whole lot and knowing, okay, this is cheesy. For crying out loud, we got gingerbread men that are trying to murder human beings, okay? And all these other creatures that are wreaking havoc. It's silly, it's funny, it's creepy, it's just everything. But at the end of the day, it's a great Christmas film. It's got a great message to it, and it's a fun film to watch. Without giving anything away, because some of you probably have not seen this, all I will say is I love how they left the ending open to interpretation. A lot of different people have different theories as to what exactly has happened. I have my opinion. So if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to watch it. And if you have, I want to know your thoughts on this. So guys, please leave me some comments below. Thank you, and a big salute to all of my subscribers. Really appreciate you guys. If you haven't subscribed, please click that button. I would love having your support. We will be back next week for part 4 of the 2018 non-traditional Christmas movie marathon. Stay tuned. Merry Christmas and happy Krampusnacht.